Hi guys, welcome back. This is Sam for Wealthwise. Today we are going to talk about, can a businessman become a politician? So we have seen with the elections in Asia and North America, people have given a clear mandate to parties which has leaders who run the government like a business in terms of key performance indicators. Since I come from a business background, I'm going to talk about what are the similarities or what is same in terms of what a CEO does versus the head of a government. And what are the differences, that is what a CEO does and what the head of the government does. Now, in a lot of countries, the head of the government is the prime minister or the president. In case of the CEO of the company, his title might be president, managing partner, chairman, and so on and so forth. But in terms of key performance indicators, let's look at what are the similarities and what are the differences, and can a CEO be a successful political head of a state? So here we go, guys. I have demarcated almost 8 similarities, and I have also tried to find what the difference is, and I found a few differences, but there is 80% similarity and 20% differences, and with a little bit of tweak we can come to a conclusion and you can make your own judgment. Can a good businessman be a good politician given an opportunity? So let's look at those 8 points, which are the similarities. So we are going to look at CEO versus political head of the state. And in this case, it could be a president or it could be a prime minister. So CEO or the head of the company versus prime minister or the president of a state. So the first similarity, we're talking about profits. So the CEO works on profits, also known as EBITDA, earnings before income tax and depreciation and amortization. So EBITDA is a term which is used for gross profit. Now, unlike a CEO, the head of the state does budgeting and he still does the balance sheet analysis, which is total assets and total liabilities. So when we say a country is going in deficit, that means the country is in a loss-making situation, right? And when the country is in surplus, then it's making good profit. That means the expenses are lower than the revenue it's generating. So that's the first point. The second is sales. Companies focus on sales, which is called account receivable and accounts payable, whereas countries focus on what we call as taxes and benefits. Taxes, just like receivable, is called collections, and then benefits, which is healthcare benefits, disability benefits, childcare benefits, old age benefits, all those benefits are called disbursements. So very similar to a company, as a sales in a company has account receivable and accounts payable, whereas in a country it has collection and disbursements. Next, hire and retain. So the company runs on 3 P's, which is people, people, and people. A country also runs on 3 P's, and that's people, people, and people. So you're talking about promoting growth internally inside the country and also getting talented immigration, attracting talents, just like a company attracts talents across the globe and it gets the talents to grow the company. Similarly, a country can also attract talented individuals to come and immigrate in the country and make the best for the country itself. The next is employee development and training. So a CEO does employee development and training, and there is a human resource department which takes care of employee development training. A country also does careers and education. So we do career development. It's the first career break and it's change of career known as second career, as well as education. So we promote educational institutes and we strive to give the best education to our own citizens. Hence, there is a very big similarity in the company and the country in terms of education and development. The next is performance and appraisals. So this part has been a little bit loosely knit in terms of country, but we have seen, for example, in US we have called DOGE, which is Department of Government Efficiency. We have also got measurements in place to measure performance of those who are responsible for geographies or departments within the government. So very similar appraisal system, but different way to pan it out. The next is healthcare and pension plan. So company gives healthcare and pension plan. Government also gives healthcare and pension plan. So whether it is funded by the company or with the co-op, which is half and half, or whether it's a privatized healthcare, government strives to give healthcare and pension plan to all its citizens, specifically those in need, those who have worked and contributed towards pension plan whole of their life, similar to the company. So very, very similar, guys. The next is security. So security in a company's assets of the company, and this could be physical assets, it could be digital assets. Nowadays, there is a lot of push toward digitization or digital modernization or adoption of new technology, and hence you need to secure by putting firewalls, putting anti-hacking mechanisms, putting a DMZ zone, and you also need to secure your server farms or data centers. Similarly, a government takes care of internal security and external security as well. So that means you have gatekeepers, which is the defense, and you have internal police force or homeland security, which takes care of internal law and order inside the country. So very similar to both. Last but not the least, we have departments and department heads in a company which take care of functions, and these functions could be silos, for example, finance, human resource, supply chain. It could be production planning, it could be warehouse management, it could be project systems, or it could be human resource or plant maintenance. Similarly, we have departments in the government which could be to deal with areas like human resource. Human resource is big for the government because whole population of a state is treated as human resource, and you have central and geographical heads of that human resource. But you also have supply chain management to make sure people get the goods and the supply chain is well knit, and transportation network is already there, which is part of the distribution network. You also have production planning, but the production is outsourced to the private sector. So government's job is to make sure the production done by different companies is enough to take care of its population as well as generate exports. So you have surplus. So very similar. So we have 8 similarities that are there between the CEO and the prime minister or the president of the country or a state. Hence, the similarities are the key KPIs which drive both the CEO and the country head. Now let's look at what are the differences. So let's go out and look at the differences. I have written down these differences, what I feel are right. So a CEO and the PM, Prime Minister or the President, I could figure out primarily 3 major differences. First is CEO works as a commercial head, whereas the president or the prime minister of the country works as the growth head. So it's his job is to grow the economy as a whole. His job is to grow, development of all segments, whether it's healthcare, whether it is, consumer goods, whether it is transportation, whether it is, any kind of exports. His job is to grow economy as a whole and get the population up. But the CEO is focused more on generating the gross margin or the EBITDA. So I talked about EBITDA previously, and hence this is commercialized, whereas this is a little bit more on the willingness of the federal government to provide service to the community. Next is CEO is recruited, whereas the head of the country is elected. So he has to convince the population that he's the best fit, but in case of a CEO, he is elected directly by the board of directors based on his merits. Some positions in governments are still elected, but I'm talking about the head of the state. So, or rather, some positions in government are recruited or internally elected. But in case of the head of the country, he's always elected by the population of states, counties, cities, and overall as a country. Now, last but not the least, a CEO is responsible to investors, whereas the prime minister or the president or the political head of the state is responsible to the country, and in some sense, indirectly responsible to keep the world economy going without conflicts. So he has dual responsibility, whereas CEO is mostly responsible for his own company. So I could only find 3 differences, but I found 8 similarities. So I would leave this to you to comment whether a good businessman can be a good politician or the head of the state, and can he make the right decisions for the country. We have seen governments get elected in different parts of the world where we have got strong leaders who are good in making decisions, and hopefully they'll carry the country forward. But this thought process of CEO versus the head of the state just came to me because I am from a business background, and I do see a shift where governments are being run more and more like a business, but with the spin that is not for the commercial angle, it's more for the benefit of the economy. It could be stock market, which is the indirect benefit, or it could be direct benefit to the citizens of that country. So guys, if you like this video, please do like and subscribe so we can bring you more content which is exciting and which talks about topics which are of interest to you. So please like and subscribe this channel, and I'll see you in the next video. This is Sam signing off. Thank you guys.